Jimmy on the beat, boy. Jimmy on the beat, boy. Jimmy on the beat, boy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Double Coverage, the official NFL podcast of the Gin Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on a Wednesday, the 7th of December, 2022. We're almost in the new year. Musa, how are we doing today, man?
I mean, can't complain. Great week of football and a great week coming up for football. So it's an exciting time of the year. It's playoff time for college. It's about to be playoff time for NFL. It's when you really try to figure out who is going to make it into the playoffs for the NFL, who's going to make the wild card, who's going to go through. So exciting times.
That's right. Musa's got a smile on his face. He's got the Hutchinson jersey on. He's wearing the Honolulu blue. He's feeling happy, feeling good, feeling in high spirits. And he should be, because the Lions are, they're a different team. And I was talking to one of my buddies at the gym today about it. And just a little precursor, I forgot my pre-workout for the gym. So it was a little bit of a mess. We powered through it. We got the pump in and we're all good. But we were talking with the Lions, and I had to talk to him about, this team that we're looking at and that we're watching. And the biggest fear, I think, that is in all the minds of every Lions fan out there is for the Lions to make a great playoff run. I don't want to jinx anything, but since I'm not a Lions fan, I guess I don't have anything to worry about. To make a great run, to make a really powerful run, win the games they have to win, maybe lose the games they're allowed to win, make a great run, go into that final stretch, and then blow it. I guess that would only be the Lions' way of doing things, and Musa is shaking his head as I say this. And I don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen, but I think that would be the greatest disservice to Lions fans ever if they were to go on and do something like that. I guess, what do you think about that, Musa? Obviously, there's a playoff picture. There is a path to the playoffs for the Lions. I mean, what's the potential that happens?
I mean, yeah, nothing would be worse than the Lions making the playoffs and then just blowing it. That would be heartbreaking. We'd be like, I think we'd be like, what's the point? Why did we make the playoffs at this point? Why, like, we are not getting a great draft pick because we're now in the playoffs? And it would be a waste, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. Well said. Let's not talk about it too much. I don't want to make any Lions fans out there feel discouraged before the party starts. So let's get into some statistics here and some spreads. So we're talking about the Lions this weekend. They're favored over the Vikings, the 10-2 Vikings. They're doing great. They're doing well. The Vikings are playing well. NFC North matchup. The Lions have taken care of business in every NFC North matchup this year. They've done well. They've did what they had to do. And the Vikings are plus 1.5. Minus 1.5 are the Lions. It was 2.5. That went down to 1.5. But the bottom line is, whether it's 1.5 or 2.5, the Lions are favored. Yes, they're at home, but they're favored against a team that's 10-2. I guess, how do we feel walking into this spread? Should we be worried about it? Obviously, there's people telling me, oh, I got to smash the Vikings. I got to smash the Vikings. But I tell them, hey, pump the brakes for a second, because you're not going to see the bookies put their neck out there like this if they don't believe somehow, some way that people are going to get behind the Lions and take them maybe minus 2.5, maybe money line, take a little bit of a hit on the odds side of things. There's a reason that they're minus 2.5. Is it because of how they've been playing? Is it because of, certain players on the offensive side of the ball that are back? I guess, Musa, let me ask you this. What is the reasoning in your mind for this spread of 1.5 favoring the Lions?
I mean, we've seen this team play some phenomenal football. 4-1 in the last 5 games. Just put 40 points on the Jaguars. And yeah, I mean, you might be saying, oh, it's just the Jaguars. But every game in the last 5 games have been good games, including the game against the Buffalo Bills. And you saw something in this defense. You saw something in this offense. Jared Goff, 115 QBR. He's playing out of his mind. They've nearly beat this team, the Vikings, in the beginning of the season at the Vikings, and now they're at home. And let me tell you, that stadium gets loud. The fans get loud. They are in support of this team, and they have so much to cheer for now, and there's so much. So I guarantee you that stadium will be sold out. It will be loud, and they have such a great crowd behind them. They have so much motivation. They have so much momentum, and they have Jameson Williams back. So they're getting players back, and they're getting healthy, and they're looking like a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. And the Vikings, they've had their shaky performances, but most of all, they've really showed up. I mean, they're basically locked in. They're far and beyond in first place in the NFC North. Not really anything to worry about there. And it's kind of a game of cat and mouse when it comes to the bracket. We have some kind of bracketology going on here. We're gonna do some fun. We're gonna have some fun towards the end of the show with a bracket for you guys. But I mean, looking at the Lions, they're playing well. Since they got rid of that defensive coordinator, I think I've seen a different team on the field and taking care of business against the Jaguars, not punting the ball a single time. I mean, this is a different Lions team. We're talking about different things regarding this Lions team under Dan Campbell. Through week 6, we've seen a lot of the same when it came to the Lions. Going past that, we're seeing a shift. We're seeing a change of pace. So I'm excited to see the Lions do well. And I've said this a million times. I don't want to see the Lions do poorly. I don't wish or pray on their downfall. Not to quote T. Grizzly, Detroit native, but I want to see them find success. I want to see them find their way to the promised land. And I think that is through Dan Campbell. I really do. I think he is the pathfinder for this Detroit team. And I hope he is. I hope he is the guy that really brings success to Detroit, and he can put this team on his back. They can put him on their back and really find success and find something to be happy about and find some praise in their team, because they need something to be happy about. The city of Detroit needs something to be happy about. And most of all, the Lions fans across the country and around the world need something to be happy and proud about. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll have some fun with some bracketology here going towards the end of the show. But let's move on for now. We'll talk about the Lions again here in a little bit. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield, picked up off waivers to the Rams. So, Musa, as a Rams fan, as a Matthew Stafford fan, devout Matthew Stafford guy. How do you feel about Baker Mayfield showing up in Los Angeles? Is he the man in Los Angeles after, having a terrible, terrible time in Carolina? Getting benched and getting put to the wayside. Is he the man now in Los Angeles, especially since they've had issues with Matthew Stafford, quarterback issues? They're not in the best of shape right now. They're basically focused on next year. How do you think this pickup from waivers for the Rams, how does this change the mentality in Los Angeles for the Rams?
I think he's just their guy that they can just throw in, get hit, don't care about. He's their punching bag. He's their sacrificial lamb at the quarterback position. He's going to probably take a lot of hits towards the end of the season, and they're just going to try and tough it out, maybe pull out some wins. But, I mean, it's not looking good for the Rams team. I think hopefully now with Baker Mayfield, they can kind of let Stafford rest. They can let Stafford heal because he needs it. And there's nothing for the Rams to play for. I'm pretty sure they're. Don't quote me on this, but I think they're eliminated from the playoffs. I don't think there's even a slight chance they can make it. And even if they could, if there was a chance, they're not making it. I mean, there's no way. We've seen this team this year.
Yeah, you're looking at a Rams team that's 3-9, doing significantly worse than, I don't even want to say this. I almost don't even feel good saying it. I was going to say not even as bad as the Lions. But based on how the Lions have been playing, I don't think that's a fair thing to say. But it is what it is. And I think that you're right. I think he is more or less a punching bag for the offense, or for the offense to brunt that hit that they don't want Matthew Stafford to take. I think Matthew Stafford's still their guy. He's earned the right. He has a Super Bowl under his belt. And they're going to face the Raiders tomorrow, and I'm assuming Baker Mayfield's going to be in the pocket. I don't think they really don't have depth in the quarterback position. And Sean McVay, I mean, there's got to be something going on upstairs for them to want to bring Baker Mayfield onto the roster. Obviously, he's looking for a place to go. There's been talks of bringing OBJ on to help the offense out. There hasn't been anything solid made news yet, but we're gonna have to focus on that and see how that thing goes. But let's backtrack a little bit. We got a comment here from Facebook. Not a Lions fan, however, my money is on the Lions this week. I don't think the Vikings are as good as their record. Lions are a dangerous team. Ben Johnson has that offense humming. St. Brown looking like Cooper Kupp, lining up all over the place. Dan Campbell for Coach of the Year. What do you boys think? I may throw a couple dimes on this. Musa, I guess, how would you address that comment?
I mean, I am a Lions fan, so I might be a little biased here, but the Lions are looking good, and if you look at this Vikings defense, some of these corners have given up a lot of yards to some players. And they're looking for those matchups with St. Brown. If they get that matchup St. Brown wants, trust me, I think we'll be seeing some giant plays down the field, maybe some long touchdown drives from St. Brown and Goff. They have that connection, and they're going to be looking for getting him one-on-one with some of these Vikings DBs that haven't been playing the best this year. So I think it's not a bad game to put some money on, but it could go either way. So I just think it won't. I think this is going to be in the Lions' favor. I think they have that drive. They have that motivation. They have that fight in them. They have that biting kneecaps in them.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen that. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown playing inspired. You got Jameson Williams in his first return to the NFL, first game in the NFL, playing inspired. You got Jamal Williams as well, to another Williams, playing well, playing inspired, playing like they want to be out there. And that's what we got to see. And that's what you want to see and expect to see from a team that does well and wants to make a playoff run, wants to fight from behind, says, hey, our season's not over yet. Okay. If you're a Lions guy, our season's not over yet. Your season's not over yet. And you got to be able to focus on that. And if you can kind of look at that and see the light at the end of the tunnel and see, hey, we got to hit these different checkpoints before we get there. It's possible. It might not be easy, but it's going to be possible. Then I think that is a huge step in the right direction as far as being a Lions fan and expecting to make a run in the playoffs. So without backtracking too much, going back to Baker Mayfield, I think he does start this Thursday against the Raiders. And we'll have to see how he performs. I think he's shaking in his boots. He hasn't played in a while. So he's going to have to prove himself, and especially if he wants to be a good QB2 in the future. I don't know what kind of contract he signed. They weren't too specific about that. I don't think they're really too worried about that right now. They just want to see if he can sling the football and play in the pocket, which that's a question that's up in the air right now too. So he could be more of a liability at the end of the day, even more than an asset. But only time
What
will
do they
tell.
have to lose? They
What do they have to lose?
They have nothing to lose, and we I think we've seen this we've seen Baker Mayfield play good and against the Browns. He's inconsistent. Some years should be a pretty decent QB, and some years he would look like Russell Wilson this year.
Ouch. That's a big hit. Good thing John Kay isn't in here, and because I think he'd take some offense to that. But hey, you got to call him like you see him. You got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away. Shout out Kenny Rogers. But hey, that's very true, and you don't want to expect to see that. I mean, we've seen a lot of underwhelming performances from players that we expected to see a lot more from this year. Without naming names, it's just kind of obvious. You can look across the board and see who has underperformed, who has outperformed expectations, and you just got to look forward and see who's going to be a contender this year and move forward in the next year if you're not a contender, and finish out the season strong. Finish out the season with some pride, because that's all you have. If you're a team that is 3-9 or that has nothing left to fight for, and I have a couple fantasy teams that are in this same boat. So I'm playing for pride at this point. I know I'm out of the money. I know I'm not in the playoffs anymore, but I'm playing for pride. I'm playing for style points, and that's all I want to do at this point.
Also, with the Rams, their first round pick doesn't go to them. So if they go and win out and their draft pick goes up, it doesn't hurt them. They had no incentive to lose out on purpose just to get the draft pick.
That's true. Very true. Moving on, let's talk about Jimmy G. He has an injured foot. They originally thought it was broken. He will possibly make a return in the postseason. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers are doing quite well, and they're not doing too bad without Jimmy G. They wound up winning this past week without him. They got a big game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And just to talk on the Bucs real quick, Tom Brady. They have 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I don't know why they play in fourth quarter football so much. It reminded me of the Lions back in 2019. And seeing this from Tampa Bay, I mean, there's a reason Tampa Bay and Tom Brady are both TB. Because I see TB as the abbreviation for Tampa Bay, and I think, oh, well, that's Tom Brady's team. But to see that come back against the Saints, obviously, I love Andy Dalton. I think he's a great quarterback. I love the Saints. I think that they have a strong team, and I think they should have won that game. But at the end of the day, I'm a bigger Tampa Bay fan. I'm a bigger Tom Brady guy. So to see them come back and win in that game in the style they did, that was Tom Brady's style at its finest. I guess, do you have anything to say about that game? Because I was just impressed to watch that. See them be down. They were down 3-16 with 5 minutes and some change left. And they're coming back and winning that game, in the final seconds. What do you have
Brady
to say about
being Brady. I mean, that's all I have to say. I mean, it's Brady being Brady. And I've heard some rumors going around about Brady coming home to New England. That's been stirring around a little bit recently. So
that has been.
I've heard also some people say it's because he left New England because Giselle didn't like the cold. But since Giselle and him are no longer together, he can go back home to the New England and play till he's 60. So it's definitely funny. I don't see him going back to New England, but the memes and the rumors and then people speculating things and making things up from it has been quite interesting.
Yeah, it's the season of memes. We've seen a lot of memes happen. I actually just saw an image on Twitter, and it hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's Anthony Brown in bed with someone that looks like Giselle. I mean, you can't see her face, but there's controversy there immediately, okay? And there was people that hinted towards that before it even happened. So if it's actually happening, then all hell's gonna break loose. But,
I mean, I to that I think I'm assuming it's fake. I mean, like there's a lot of blonde haired girls out there, so it's no face, no case, is what they say. So
good point. I like that. I can ride with that. But yeah, props to Brady. Brady winning like Brady does, and can't really expect anything less out of the guy. Speaking of injuries, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. He has a sprained PCL. He may come back in Week 18 against the Bengals, but is unconfirmed the extent of the injury and how long he will be under for. So, how does this affect the Baltimore Ravens going forward? How does this affect their playoff potential? And I guess, what is the state of the Baltimore Ravens without Lamar Jackson?
They lost their best running back. What is a team without a running back? You need a run game to be good in this league. You need to be able to set up play action. You need to be able to do a lot of things. So without Lamar's ability to run, it's what this offense is surrounded by. Him being able to take off, him being able to make plays, and you can't replace Lamar that easily. You just can't. So this team is going to suffer, and they're going to maybe get some insight to next year, and maybe they're going to give Lamar that contract that he wants once they notice what they are without him.
Yeah, it's true. You got Tyler Huntley coming out of Utah, taking over for Lamar. Not a bad quarterback, not a bad backup, but can he amount to what they expected out of Lamar when they had him? Obviously, you take players for granted. If they take hits, they have potential to get injured. Okay, quarterbacks more than anybody, I say they're almost like paper mache athletes out there because they can really fold and become worthless in the matter of a snap of a finger. They can be worthless and gone. So you're sitting there 8-4, first in the AFC North. They're feeling good about where they're at. They're thinking they're going to coast right into the playoffs, and they have high potential to do that. But they still have some games going forward they're going to have to contest with decent teams. One being the Bengals, on January 8th, which Lamar could be back by then. They have the Steelers, they have the Browns, the Falcons, the Steelers again, and then the Bengals. So, I mean, you look at that. They do have decent teams. I guess the only decent teams right there, I would say, are the Browns and the Falcons. The Steelers have been showing some promise as of late, but I guess you're looking at opportune times to get injured. Hypothetically, there is none, but I think if you could have got injured at any time, this isn't the worst time to get injured, especially if you have playoff potential and you could come back. It's not a season-ending injury where you're, not going to be active and not going to be moving, putting pressure on it, things of that nature. So, they're going to need
they're
him back.
Not must win, not must win games. So that's the best time to get injured if you're going to get injured. Like we said, this was with the Lions. They got injured at the perfect time. It was early in the season, and they're getting their injuries out the way. They're getting their thing out the way, and now they're healthy to make a playoff run, and they're ready. So the Lions had injuries at the perfect time as well for what they're doing, and now they're about to come and make this nice playoff run.
Yeah, good point. Got another comment here from Facebook. Do you think Lamar playing without a contract next year is very smart on his part, given his style of play? Musa, take that one away. I'll add my 2 cents after you do.
I think Lamar's going to get the contract he wants. I think that's really it. I don't think he's going to keep risking his body because he knows he's injury prone. He knows that he is a runner, and he doesn't. Running quarterbacks aren't going to be the Tom Brady's. They're not going to be playing 40s, 50s. So he's aware of that. So I think there's teams that are willing to pay, and that's why he wanted that fully guaranteed contract. Or should he milk the injury and lock down the contract? I don't. I think they'll notice what they are without him, and they'll be panicking. And then he probably will be able to set some terms like, "Hey, you want me back? You want me to take this playoffs run? I need that contract." And I think he'll play it to his advantage. So I don't think he's going to milk the injury, but I think he's going to play the injury to his advantage, and they're going to notice what they need and then what they are without him.
Yeah, my opinion on that, I think I'm pretty sure that Lamar Jackson has progressive insurance. And the reason I say that is because he has the name your price tool. Okay, he's a quarterback. He's a guy where he's being looked at from other teams. He could be sniped any day. He has that utility. But you've seen this happen in the NBA, and you see it kind of go sour is because certain players will say, hey, I have this amount of utility, right? I have this amount of potential to bring to the table. Is that going to be worth it? How long can I milk that to my advantage? If I milk it too long, I start to lose luster. I start to lose my price. I start to lose, salary cap spots, etc. So I think if he plays it out long enough, he can get himself a deal. I think he needs to have a deal on the table before he can really play hard to get. He's playing hard to get right now. Everybody, the fans included, are saying, hey, we need to pay Lamar what he is worth. We need to give him the money, use the salary cap that we have, and basically use it on him and spend the money where you have to. So I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to make that decision, whether it's the Baltimore Ravens or not. We're going to have to see, and only time will tell. But I think this injury, Lamar could potentially use this injury to his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, also the longer they wait, the more expensive it's going to get. If they signed his contract originally before Watson got his fully guaranteed contract, before quarterbacks come out and get these contracts, and then you have to pay them more. So the sooner you do your contract, the cheaper it is going to be for the team. If the team gives them the contract early on, and another quarterback goes and gets more money, he can't be like, but I'm more valuable than that quarterback. I want to be paid the more than him because I am better than him, and you need to value me that way. So the sooner they do the contract, the better.
I agree, 100%. They're going to have to put something on the table so there's a potential for a negotiation. Just put something on the table so we can start the conversation, and that's going to be the best case scenario for both Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens if they so choose to keep him as their quarterback. 100% agree. Let's move on. Let's talk about some bracketology. So, Moose, I'm going to have you share your screen for me, pull that bracket up, and we're going to talk about some playoff possibilities. And that's something I've been really excited to do. And we still have a couple weeks left. There's a lot that can happen between now and then. But I think that it's still worthy of the conversation to have these conversations right now. So we have the bracket on the screen. Currently, I'm going to have Musa go through his bracket, and then I'm going to kind of say, okay, I have this team winning, etc., and we're going to kind of have a play-by-play. So, Musa, go ahead. Feel free to explain your bracket and your playoff potentials as they currently stand.
So this is current state, the teams, their records, and what they have. So we're just going to kind of go through every week from now to the end of the year and choose who we think are going to win which games. And we're going to get an idea of this playoff picture and what needs to happen. For example, for the Lions, the Giants and the Washington Commanders can't both have 10 wins. If they both get to 10 wins, the Lions are out no matter what. Another condition for the Lions is the Seahawks cannot outperform them. The Seahawks can't jump ahead of them because they'll take that or tie them on record this year, because if they do so, the seeding will go to the Seahawks since they have won against this Lions team. So just a little context there. And then start off with the Jags versus the Titans. I'm going to have to give this one to the Titans. The next game, Jets versus Bills. I think Bills handle business. Bengals have been unstoppable this year, so I'm giving it to the Bengals. This one's an interesting one. Without Lamar and the Steelers, but the Steelers aren't a good team, so I think I might still give this to the Ravens. This one, I mean, I want to give it to the Broncos, but I just can't. Then we have the Dolphins Chargers. I think this will be a close one. I think I'm going to lean towards the Dolphins on this game. And then Rams and Raiders. Tough one. Raiders are not good. Rams are not good. I want to give it to the Rams, but this one is either way. So I'm the Rams fan in me is choosing the Rams, but it could go either way, I think. Cowboys Texans. That would be a miracle if the Texans won. And then Patriots Cardinals. I'm going to go with Patriots. Now, here's where it kind of gets interesting. This is the NFC, and this is what matters to the Lions. I'm giving Tampa Bay the win against the 49ers. I'm giving the Eagles the win against the Giants. I'm gonna ask for your help on this one. Do you think the Carolina Panthers or the Seahawks win this game?
I'll take the Seahawks. I got my faith in Gabe.
All right. So, early in the year, I would have been doing this. This part of the year, the momentum the Lions have, I'm going, they're favored, they're at home, I'm going to take the Lions. Now, if we get on to the next week, we'll kind of rapid fire this one. Deshaun Watson's back. I'm going to give him against the Ravens. Bills, I'm going to give them that. Chiefs, that's an easy one. Chargers, Titans, I'm going to give it to the Chargers. Patriots, Raiders, I'm going to give it to the Patriots. Vikings should easily beat the Colts. Carolina Steelers is an interesting one. I'm gonna hand it to Carolina. I think. Actually, no. I'm going with Steelers. Steelers been on a hot streak. Carolina has been kind of selling. They're not playing well. Cowboy Jags. Cowboys should handle that one easily. I mean, the Lions just destroyed the Jaguars. Lions Jets. Also earlier in the year, you might have been like, "Oh, the Jets are going to win," but the Jets are in shambles. They don't know who their quarterback is. They don't know what's going on there. So I think the Lions should be able to take this one without an issue. And then Cardinals Broncos. Both are not great teams. Cardinals are the better team. Broncos can't really win this year. They don't know how to win. Bengals Tampa. That's a very interesting one. I want the Bengals to win, but I can't go against Brady here. Seahawks 49ers. I'm moving it to the 49ers. Saints Falcons. Going to go Saints. Giants Washington. I'm going Giants. This one has a big impact on playoff standings later on because, like I said, the Seahawks have the Washington can't get to 10 wins and the Giants can't get to 10 wins. And then Philadelphia, Chicago, I'm going Philadelphia. Lions, Packers, Rams, Packers. I'm going to go with Packers. Any disagreements here?
Nope, let's run with it.
All right. We're going to go to the next week. All right. This one, Jets should easily do that one. Titans should easily do this one. Moving this one to the Bengals. This one, I'm unsure of. What are you going here?
Give it to the Raiders. Give it to the Raiders. Let's give them one. I mean, there's going to be anomalies too in this bracket too. For everybody watching or watching this video later, there's going to be anomalies to this. Obviously, there's going to be teams that are favored, and there's going to be teams that show up. Those are two completely different things. So, yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna give the Bills versus the Bears. Chiefs against Seahawks. Ravens against Falcons. It's honestly it's hard with Baltimore. We don't know how they're going to play without Lamar, so it's difficult here. So I'm unsure on this one, but I'm still leaning towards the Ravens. Browns. Also, I don't know how they're gonna really play with Deshaun, but I think Deshaun might help them out quite a bit. So I'm gonna go with the Browns. Dolphins should easily take this one. Now this one's a very interesting one. I think the Broncos actually win this game. I think the Broncos can beat the Rams, and I think that'll be interesting. Giants, Vikings should easily win that one, even though the Giants are a pretty good team on paper. They lost to the Lions, so I think that's in order. Lions, Panthers, the Lions should easily win this one. 49ers should win against the Commanders. Eagles and Cowboys, I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. And then I'm going to take Tampa. How are you feeling with these picks?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
All right, Chiefs, Broncos. Chiefs should win. I mean, that's a given. I think Jags are better than the Texans. I think the Texans are in shambles. They have been. Steelers, Baltimore. I'm gonna give this one to the Steelers. You know, we don't know how they're playing without Lamar. If Lamar was healthy, I would easily go with the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm gonna go with Steelers this round. I'm gonna go Dolphins over Patriots. Bengals could very well beat Buffalo, but I'm gonna give it to Buffalo. Then over here, we're going to have the Cowboys, the Browns, the Giants, 49ers, the Jets, and then the Chargers. Lions should beat the Bears. I don't see why they wouldn't beat them again. I'm going to give Brady another win against the Panthers. Cardinals, Falcons. Also, I haven't been keeping track of the Falcons this year. How do you think this one plays out?
I'd give it to the Falcons. Arizona is trash. And I only know that because I have Kyler Murray on two of my fantasy teams. So
you didn't get him on your Call of Duty fantasy team?
I need to put him on it. I wish they had fantasy for Call of Duty because he would be at the top of my list.
You would be getting all the points, and then the Vikings should beat the Packers. All right, Week 18. The Lions are going to face the Packers, and I think the Lions will win again. 49ers should beat them. This is where it gets interesting. Like the Seahawks should beat the Rams. The Vikings should beat the Bears. The Saints should beat the Panthers. I think the Eagles beat the Giants. But like even if it went this way, the Lions are still in. It just changes their seeding between the Giants and the Lions, and then Cowboys, and then we're gonna go with Brady. On this side, I think Chiefs handle business, Chargers should handle business, Browns should handle business. Titans should win this one. I think this potentially is Lamar's return game. But I'm still, even if Lamar does come back, it'll probably be his first week back. I'm going to go with Bengals. Then we're going to have the Bills. I'm going to give the Bills. I'm going to give the Colts. Jeff Saturday. Let's see what he does against a bad Texans team. And then the Dolphins. That's like the standings right now if we went through everything. And then there's the wild card round. But I want to mess around a little bit more and go to the Lions into more details. I want to give the Lions a loss to the Vikings, which will take them out. If they lose to the Vikings and the Seahawks do this good, like I was saying before, the Seahawks are 9-8, then the Lions need to beat the Vikings this week. Now, let's say the Seahawks, for whatever reason, the Rams beat the Seahawks. Now, that will be good for the Lions, and the Lions can make it in 9-8. I don't really see it really happening, but it's potential. Here, I think the Jets. So I think it's tough. I mean, let's say I want to do another scenario. Let's say the Seahawks, for some reason, do really well, and what would the Lions need to do? If the Lions beat the Vikings, they're in. So the Lions, realistically, if they comfortably want to be in, they need to win out. But I don't think the Seahawks are going to do that good. I'm gonna keep it like this. I think the Seahawks are 9-8. I think the Giants. I'm pretty happy with what I have against the Giants. For the Giants, I think Eagles should beat them. I think they should beat Washington. They did just tie Washington. So I mean, either way, no matter where this goes, it doesn't matter for the Lions too much because they're both not getting to 10 wins. So either way, we can do that or that. It doesn't matter to me. I think Vikings, that's a pretty easy one for them. I think they beat the Colts, and then I think the Eagles. So I think I have the Giants losing the games they should and winning the games they should. The Commanders, who thought they would be in this position right now? But it's a tough end of the year. I mean, maybe they can do that, but it still keeps the Lions in. So I think the Lions are looking pretty good to make the playoffs if they win this week. So I have that for you. And then we'll do one more scenario here where the Seahawks are losing to the Rams. So their Seahawks are 8-9. The Giants are 9-7, and the Commanders are 8-8. Let's go to. We're gonna give the Lions that win, and then we're gonna give the Commanders. I'm gonna give the Commanders this many wins. Yeah, so I think the cards are in place for the Lions to make it if they win. Any scenarios you want to go over?
No, I think that's good for now. I think you should make a video about this, and this could be another option for later on where you kind of paint all the pictures, paint all the scenarios for the Lions to make it to the playoffs, who has to win, who has to lose. And I think that could be a good video potential down the road, especially getting into the weeks where there's more things that are getting more interesting. And I think that we can count on that for being a good piece of content for the people out there, just to paint a picture. Because that's what we want to do is paint the picture for the potential for different scenarios. Who makes the playoffs, who doesn't? Because really, yes, we are painting the picture for the Lions, and we're focusing on the Lions. And that just because it would be amazing. It would be crazy. But we're really painting a picture for any team and all teams to have their potential, and it's painting a picture for the entire league on who makes the playoffs and who doesn't.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for the Lions, Giants, Commanders, one of them can get to 10 wins. Both get to 10 wins, it's over. But realistically, not happening. They're not both going to get 10 wins. And then the second condition is the Seahawks. They need to do worse than the Lions because it's kind of on like even terms with now. And with the Seahawks win over the Lions, they take priority there. So it'll be interesting. But I think I did. Speaking of the land of the memes from before, I saw a meme on Twitter. It was an X-ray, and it was an X-ray of the Lions team, and it showed 3 dogs in the body. If you've seen the memes going around, in fact, he has a dog in him. So the Lions actually have 3 dogs in them, according to
Whoa.
Twitter.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to check that one out or send it to me.
I'll have to find
Maybe
it. I'll have to
see
find it. I'll go to a dive and find it.
Yeah, find it and send it to me. Got another comment here from Facebook. A little bit. It's a little bit down the queue here. I like that answer. This is regarding Lamar Jackson and his re-extension. He says, I like that answer, but if you are an owner, do you guarantee his money? I think you have to make some kind of guarantee towards Lamar Jackson sooner than later, because you'll get to a point where your offer may be outbid, or it might be too little too late. He might be in communication with other teams, other franchises that are hurting for a quarterback, but they have the salary cap to afford him. You could see him jump ship because if there's already friction between 1, creating a deal, and 2, salary cap, then you're already having friction there. So he could have potential to jump ship right then and there, but I don't know. I think you guarantee his money sooner than later. What do you think?
Sorry for the brief thing. Someone seems mad right now, so they were yelling, so I was muted a bit. That was perfect timing because the second you said, "What do you think?" I think they left. But it's hard. Like, he wants a fully guaranteed contract, but it's a risk. He gets hurt, you're stuck paying him that money. So I think there maybe you give him a fully guaranteed contract with maybe some like condition in it. If he like gets hurt and doesn't play ever again, then there's some clause in it. I think maybe that's the solution that they might seek towards if he is 100% set on this guaranteed contract. But it's a risk you have to take if you want Lamar. I think there's teams that are willing to take that risk and give him that fully guaranteed contract because they have nothing else to lose and they are ready to go to a Super Bowl with a QB. So it's a land of gambles. Every choice you make is a gamble, and I think you need to make that gamble on Lamar. And I don't think it's the worst gamble you'll ever make. So if I'm an owner, I think I am giving him that contract, maybe with a clause in it if there's any way to do that. If not, I think you're stuck with that choice. Is the amount he's asking for fully guaranteed worth the risk? And for some teams, most definitely. For the Ravens, I don't know. That's what they need to look into, and they need to make that decision. So,
yep. Where is their ceiling? That is a question. Where is their ceiling? And if they see that, they see their future in Lamar Jackson, then that's going to have to be a risk they're willing to take. So we'll see what they do. Hopefully they make their decision quick so we can cover it for you and we can talk about it a little bit more. That brings us to the end of the show, guys. Musa, do you have any final thoughts, final words for the people out there before we say goodbye?
I'm excited. That's all.
He's excited. He's wearing the Honolulu blue. He's got a smile on his face. And the Lions will face the Vikings this weekend at Ford Field. So I'm excited for that game too. I'm excited for that game too because I think it's going to be a game with a lot of fireworks. That's pretty much it. You got the spread in there. You got a lot of different aspects that make this game interesting, both from a bettor's perspective and from a fan's perspective, and also an analyst's perspective. So we'll have to see what happens there.
A disclaimer. Last time the Lions were favored against a 10-2 team was Week 17 of 2011. It was against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers was out, and that was the Matt Flynn game. For the people who don't know who that is, he was a backup, came in and put, I think, 45 points on this Lions team. So just going to put the disclaimer. Last time they were favored against a 10-2 team, that was that game. So don't be heartbroken if we lose.
Musa with the history lesson. Got to appreciate that.
I gotta throw it in there. You know, I'm excited. I don't think that will happen. I just gotta be safe. I gotta give you the disclaimer because I've been hyping them up this whole time. You need to lower the expectations a little and make sure you guys are ready for what may happen.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good words of wisdom for maybe people that are too head over heels for this Lions team after seeing this brief stint of success that we've seen. And I think you got to bring yourself back to ground at some point. Be like, okay, well, let's just chill out. We got to get, if you're a Lions fan, got to get back to business, got to get back to the drawing board. Even if we're winning games and playing well, that doesn't mean you want to take the foot off the gas. You want to keep playing well. You want to keep excelling and exceeding expectations, so you continue to beat teams that are good and teams that are in your way that basically serve as obstacles to make it to the playoffs. So that's what they got to do. Good stuff, good stuff. All right. So that brings us to the end of the show, everybody. Make sure to follow us and subscribe on all of our socials. Our link tree is in the bottom of this podcast in the description. Make sure to go to our website for all of our content, ginsportsnetwork.com. Follow us on Instagram at Gin Sports Network and at Gin Promotions. And be sure to turn the notifications on for all of our new shows, all of our new posts, and everything regarding gin. So we look forward to seeing you guys here next time on Double Coverage. But for now, I'm John J. II here with Musa Basal. Have a great night.